Give thanks as though it were already received, not as a technique, not as a gesture toward the future, but as a quiet recognition of what is already true in consciousness. Gratitude, when it is real, does not strain, it does not reach, it rests. It is the natural response of one who is no longer waiting. And that is the key here. The moment you are truly thankful, waiting has ended. You cannot honestly give thanks for something you believe is still missing. You can pretend to, you can say the words, but the inner movement will tell the truth every time. So we are not talking about words, we are talking about a state. Notice how gratitude feels in the body when something is done, settled, complete. There is a softening, a quietness. The mind stops circling. The heart no longer leans forward. There is no argument with life in that moment. Life is agreed with. And that agreement is powerful, not because it forces anything, but because it stops contradicting what you desire. Most people live in a constant inner argument. They say they want something, but their inner posture says it is not here. And life, being faithful, reflects the posture, not the request. Gratitude, as though it were already received, is the end of that argument. You are not trying to convince the world. You are consenting to a reality within yourself. You are allowing yourself to feel what you would feel if the matter was settled. And when something is settled within, it no longer needs to prove itself outside. It moves on its own. There is a subtle dignity in this kind of gratitude. It does not announce itself. It does not need witnesses. It is almost private. You might even find that you don't want to talk about what you are thankful for because it feels personal, inward, complete. That is a good sign. When you give thanks as though it were already received, you are no longer looking at life to confirm who you are. You are standing in the identity of the one who has received. And identity is the deepest assumption you ever make. Ask yourself, not as a question to answer, but as a noticing. Who am I being when I am genuinely thankful? Am I the one hoping, or am I the one remembering? Gratitude that comes from hope is thin. Gratitude that comes from remembrance is full. It has weight. It changes how you stand, how you speak, how you listen. You don't lean into conversations the same way. You don't scan the environment for signs. You are no longer negotiating with life. You may notice that when gratitude is real, time relaxes. There is no hurry. Nothing needs to happen today or tomorrow. Not because you don't care, but because caring has transformed into knowing. And knowing is quiet. This is why forced gratitude feels exhausting. It is still effort. It is still trying to get somewhere. But true gratitude feels like stopping, like arriving, like sitting down after a long walk and realizing you are home. You are not thanking the world in advance. You are acknowledging an inner fact, and the outer world is obedient to inner facts. There is something important here about honesty. You cannot fake this with yourself, and you don't need to. If gratitude is not yet natural, that is not a failure. It is information. It simply means the assumption has not yet shifted, so you don't fight that. You gently notice where you are still waiting, still checking, still asking when. That noticing itself begins to loosen the grip of waiting, because waiting is a posture. It is not time. It is identity. The moment you stop being the one who waits, the experience you were waiting for is free to appear. Gratitude, as though it were already received, is the simplest expression of that shift. It says, without words, this is done for me. And when something is done, you don't keep talking about it. You live from it. You might find that this gratitude shows up in ordinary moments. Washing your hands, sitting in a chair, hearing a familiar sound. There is a quiet smile, not because something just happened, but because something is no longer in question. That is the smile of assumption. And assumption is not imagination straining toward possibility. It is imagination resting, in fact. When you live from that place, life rearranges itself without drama, often without announcement. You may even forget what you were once so focused on, until you realize it is simply part of your life now. That is how it works. The mind likes fireworks. The self likes certainty. Gratitude gives certainty. Not certainty that something will happen, but certainty that something is. And from that certainty, events follow naturally, the way echoes follow sound. You do not chase the echo. So let gratitude be simple. Let it be quiet. Let it be honest. Let it be the feeling you would have if you were no longer managing, no longer preparing, no longer rehearsing explanations, the feeling of being done, and from that doneness, live, speak, move, respond. You will find that life meets you there, not because you asked, but because you agreed. And agreement is creation's favorite language.